Tourism, the sector that is most affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Ever since the lockdown, we have seen many tourism-related companies closing down. Only few are able to survive in this difficult time. In our previous video, Aaron suggested us to talk about Genting, and we thought, why not? Since the pandemic is slowly coming to an end, tourism will be a sector that is estimated to rebound strongly. So why not we talk about this company that has been surviving despite the crisis that we are facing currently? Will it once again be a darling stock for dividend investors? Or perhaps even with an opportunity of strong growth? Hi, I'm Frankie. Welcome back to my fuck show, Frankie Answers Questions. Today, we will talk about Genting Malaysia, one of the largest gaming companies in the world, how it is able to survive this pandemic, its overseas venture, and as usual, the man behind it. Question 1. How big is Genting? See? So structured. Not like our previous video when we talk about Berjaya Corp. Anyways, we all know about Genting Highlands. But beyond that, Genting actually has many properties around the world. From Hong Kong to Singapore, from Egypt to the UK, and all the way to the US. Do you know that the group recently opened its door for business at Resorts World Las Vegas just 2 months ago, in June 2021? That is their latest asset that came just in time when the US reopens its economy after the COVID-19 pandemic. Question 2. Who is the man behind Genting Group of Companies? When we talk about Genting, most of us remember Uncle Lim, Tan Sri Lim Gotong. When he conceived the idea of Genting Highlands, right, there weren't even roads to go up to the hill, you know. Many people laugh at him, but despite that, he managed to pull it off and he got the last laugh. But today's story is not about him.
Are you serious?
Today's story is about Anak Lim, Tan Sri Lim Gokte. You know, in Malaysia, we have Bapa Kemerdekaan, Tunku Abdul Rahman. Then comes Bapa Pembangunan, Tun Abdul Razak. In the context of Genting, Uncle Lim was the father of Genting. Then his son LKT is the father of Genting expansion. Let's just hope that his heir is not like Najib Razak.
Kepala bapak engkau.
Question 3. Why is LKT considered the father of expansion of Genting? When Uncle Lim was leading the group, it was more like a comfortable family business that is generating great profits. The business was managed like a Chinaman company. Well, can't blame them. During the 70s to early 90s, Genting Highlands was the only casino in Southeast Asia, therefore attracting high rollers in the region. But soon, all this came to an end as we step into the new millennium. On top of that, Tony Fernandez declared that everyone can fly. Macau, which was traditionally the gaming destination in Asia, became even more popular. Then out of nowhere, Cambodia started to build its own gaming empire and it is catching popularity since flights became cheap. By the way, do you know that the casino in Cambodia is owned by a Malaysian? At this point, Genting Highlands was facing stiff competition from other tourist destinations. When LKT took over the leadership in Genting, he understood the landscape that he was in. They needed to up the game. Soon, they refurbished their facilities and rebranded Genting Highlands to Resorts World Genting. To you, it could be just another name. But for LKT, this is the beginning of a new era. Question 4. What did LKT do? In this new era, LKT's vision was to have a Resorts World footprint everywhere in the world.
It's worldwide.
He understands when traveling becomes so convenient, the only way to retain their customers, go where they go. However, Genting has been very comfortable in Malaysia and had a good relationship with the lawmakers. Going out of Malaysia will be stepping out of their comfort zone as they need to deal with different authorities. This is a time-consuming and expensive process. So, instead of committing huge resources to deal with foreign regulations immediately, his first step was to take Genting to a place where there's no rules. Can you guess where this is? He founded Star Cruises Limited and built casinos inside cruises, sail them out to the open sea where it is not owned by any countries, and let the party begin. As we know, it became a successful business and eventually got listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange as Genting Hong Kong. Today, they manage their cruises under 3 major brands, which are Star Cruises, Crystal Cruises, and Dream Cruises. After their successful venture in building cruise casinos, the next step was to expand their footprints into other countries. However, there was one problem. A casino is not welcomed by many governments due to the many social issues that potentially comes along with it. But in the early 2000s, opportunity came knocking on the door.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Flying was made affordable in ASEAN and tourism became a booming industry in the region. Many countries want to generate higher GDP growth from tourism. So, Genting seized the opportunity to build a family-friendly resort and naturally featuring their bread and butter casino business, along with the only Universal Studios in the region.
Write the movies at Universal Studios Singapore. For a limited time only.
It was a plan that was welcomed by Singaporean government. With that success, they continued their expansion into Europe and eventually to the US. See, like we say, father of expansion. Question 5. Genting seems to face many challenges with their overseas expansion. What happened? This is a very good question. But before we go into it, I think it is important to understand the background of Genting's expansion story beyond Asia. After the Singapore chapter, Genting leveraged on Genting Singapore to carry out its global expansion plan. This time round, instead of building a casino, they adopted a brownfield approach by acquiring Stanley Leisure, which immediately made Genting Singapore the largest casino operator in the UK. Subsequently, in 2010, Genting Singapore sold Genting UK to Genting Malaysia for £351 million. The point I want to say is their first expansion to the West was actually a successful one.
A great success!
In fact, I think they did a good job taking baby steps to expand their business from Star Cruises to Resorts World Sentosa in Singapore, then only the Western countries. Unfortunately, the problem started when they went to the US. When it comes to the gaming business in the US, we all know that Las Vegas is the epicenter of casinos. Remember the movie Hangover? All the big boys in the gaming industry are there. And now Genting wants a share too. By now, you should know that Genting always plays safe. Instead of starting off in the red ocean of Las Vegas, they decided to start where it sees less competition. Remember the biggest challenge in casino business? Regulation. It is well known that in order to overcome regulation constraints, you need a strong lobbying team. Not this lobby, Lobbying is basically an individual or a team that specializes in helping companies to gain favorable votes from lawmakers. It's a complicated process. If you want to know more about lobbying, you can go and watch this movie called Miss Sloan. Anyways, it seems that the US soil is much more difficult to penetrate compared to other countries. It was in this expansion that Genting faced multiple issues, such as the lobbying problems with the New York lawmakers, the controversial acquisition of Empire Resort, the infringement lawsuit with Wynn Resorts Holdings. But over a period of close to a decade, all of these were resolved with a happy ending. Currently, they own a few assets in the US, and their Las Vegas casino finally opened in June 2021.
3, 2, 1.
Question 6. Genting expansion strategy does not seem to pay off despite heavy investments. Why? Well, in a way you are right. On the record, Genting UK EBITDA was impacted by higher debts written off. Malaysia operation is slapped with higher casino duties. In the US, most assets are new and they are not operating at the optimum efficiency. Moreover, since Genting is ultimately in the tourism industry, they are being hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns in the locations that they are operating in. It seems to me that they have experienced many events that are going against their favor. Nonetheless, their overseas operations are considered young, especially in the US. Based on the way they approach their business expansion strategy, they have been very meticulous and they have the benefit of having enough financial muscles to weather any challenges ahead.
What are your superpowers again? I'm rich.
At the end of the day, business is a long-term thing. We can only hope that going forward, things will get better. Question 7. Is Genting a good investment? Well, it depends on what perspective you are looking at. Certainly from the perspective of business operation, it does give the impression that overseas expansion is not as rewarding as expected. Because of that, many people are kind of fed up and wonder where this company is heading going forward. I can only say that casino business is a complicated business. Anyways, I think it is much easier to see this from the eye of an investor. One of the reasons people invest in Genting Malaysia is because of its dividend. As you can see, from FY15 to FY19, Genting Malaysia's dividend per share was growing by 15% per annum. Even when FY20 was severely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, they were still able to pay 14.5 cents per share, which translates to 5.4% dividend yield based on closing price at 31st of December 2020. In my opinion, their capital management strategy is superb because they are mindful about returning value to shareholders even during this unprecedented environment. From that perspective, Genting could be a good investment. That's all we have for today. #fuck.